Okay, thanks very much, folks. Yeah, so we're based at Old Castle Ward, fantastic property, just 40 minutes from Belfast. If anybody hasn't been there before, whenever you go down to Old Castle Ward, you've got these old castle buildings dating back to the 16th century. So sprawling medieval walls. It was the perfect setting for creating a film like Game of Thrones. In 2008, we entered into discussions with HBO and the National Trust, whereby they would actually come to our activity centre and the courtyard, and they would look at potentially creating a thing called Winterfell. Winterfell is one of the key fantasy areas in Game of Thrones, and it's effectively where the show starts in season 1. We decided that it was going to go ahead, and the next thing enrolled HBO to create Winterfell and shoot the opening pilot episode. At that stage, they didn't really know how this was going to go. Was it going to be a success? Was it going to go to season 1 and 2 and so on? Nobody knew. And lo and behold, the next thing we found out, it was the biggest TV show in the world. That led to people coming to Castle Ward that we had never seen before, the type of visitor we had never seen before, and asking questions about where was such and such a scene shot, where can I see the Winterfell Castle, etc., etc. People come from places like Anchorage in Alaska. We couldn't believe it. Like the last time we had somebody from Anchorage in Alaska, Castle Ward, we certainly don't remember it. And we get this on a regular basis now, which is great. So it sort of ID'd that there is an interest for fans coming looking for the locations, and we tried to look at what we could actually do to capitalise on that. So we started to create a film locations map of the state, because we didn't just have Winterfell, we had 9 other filming locations as well. And we also put together a promotional video and a range of immersive tours and experiences. And that was just started at the start of last season, so that would have been sort of around April 2014. This is an example of what the map would look like. So Game of Thrones film location map for Castle Ward Estate. 10 different filming locations, Winterfell in the bottom. And then we've got a lot of film locations where the flag pins are 5, 6 and 7, the likes of Rob's Camp and key other scenes. So we were blessed really that we didn't just have Winterfell, we had 9 other locations. So we're just going to show a quick video, just to give you a bit more of an insight.
As Wardens of the North and head of the Stark family, we welcome you to our home, Winterfell. We welcome King Robert to Winterfell. King in the North, Rob, and his bannermen, are the twins. Theon Greyjoy shoots the ravens of all the flame. Tywin Lannister's camp. Baela's battlefield. I invite you to come and experience our wild northern lands for yourself. Winter is coming.
Okay, so that was just a 2-minute video clip just to sort of capture the different experiences that we do offer. And that video was put together last year. Things have moved on a wee bit since then because we learned a lot last year about things that were working, not working so well. People were coming up and asking us for additional things that we weren't offering, so we had to sort of move on a wee bit. So what did we do last year? We built a replica of the Winterfell Archery Range movie set. So they actually built an archery range in the Winterfell Castle back in 2008-2009. So we built a replica of that. We bought in HBO merchandise costumes from America. So visitors can actually dress up in costume just like the characters, and then they can strut for photographs and that type of thing. We went through some rigorous staff training to try and increase the authenticity of what we're offering on the ground, and then also all our staff will be in character costume. So William's going to join me on the stage very briefly here, one of our staff team, and this is the sort of thing you'd expect to meet whenever you come down to Winterfell. So, typical furs, leathers, leather belt, swords, which are not real swords, but they're actually called a LARP sword. They're like a toy sword, a rubbery finish to them, so it means that you can mess around with them, pose for photographs and so on. So fans love this type of thing. They love getting dressed up, and they love to share that type of image with their mates on Facebook and Twitter and so on. Okay, that's Jon Snow Senior. Thank you. We also are now in a phase of a new branding identity and a new website. Last year it was under the umbrella of Clearsky Adventure Centre, because that's where the Adventure Centre is, but there was a bit of confusion there as to what was on the ground from the visitor's perspective. So we wanted to create a new brand that was going to communicate globally what we actually offer on the ground, how authentic it is, how immersive it is. So we put together the new logo and the new website. On the website, here's a screenshot. Typical things that you'll see there would be the archery experience. We can dress up in costumes. The cycle location trail, going around the 10 different locations on the estate, and bringing costumes and things with you in your little rucksack called a Stark sack. So whenever you arrive at the locations, the likes of Audley's Castle, you can get your cloak out. You can dress up like Jon Snow Senior here, and you can get your photographs and so on. Other experiences are likes of the Castles of Westeros boat trip, which goes around the different castles on the estate, and also the pods that we have on the estate. So we now have a glamping mini break experience. Believe it or not, yesterday we had a booking in from a couple in South Georgia in the US who are coming specifically to do the Game of Thrones glamping experience. So it's a global reach that we have right away through this website. Other experiences that we offer is the likes of medieval banquets for groups. So you have an opportunity now where you can, everybody can be in costume, and we have a hog roast, a variety of other things, live music. We've also produced our own beer. So we have our own Winterfell craft beer, which is exclusive to Winterfell. So there's a number of things that people can take advantage of whenever they're down with us. Other things like this, stag and hen parties, believe it or not, are coming in. And again, last week we had an inquiry in, again from America, for a hen party. Yeah. So we're lucky if we get hen parties coming from 30-mile radius, never mind the US. And again, you can dress up in wigs, costumes and so on, and enjoy that type of experience. You can also meet the Game of Thrones dogs at Winterfell. These are the real dogs that starred on the show back in season 1. And then it follows the show. These were the direwolf pups that were found in Tullymore. And then the dogs were actually brought back to Winterfell by the Stark family. This is the dogs 5 years later, our local TV stars, called Odin and Thor. And now customers can actually book in to meet the dogs at Winterfell. So that's the owner of the dogs, William, in the middle there, who actually was an extra in the show as well. So you have the added advantage of not only meeting the dog TV stars, but also the extras. Okay, so as far as demand is concerned, what's this all led to? It's led to over 10,000 extra visitors coming into our business last year. That was our first year. Looking forward, bookings globally, as we mentioned there, the South Georgia is an example of booking a glamping package coming all the way from America. We've got daily coach tours coming in. We're going to hear from Caroline at McCombs. They run a coach down to Winterfell. And we've also got cruise ships. A lot of cruise ships coming in whenever they do arrive in Belfast. So as some of the ladies touched on earlier in their presentations, it's a very varied customer base. The cruise ships are bringing in people that are typically 50-plus age bracket, but we're still getting full coach loads coming in for that experience. Winterfell weddings is the next thing. We had an inquiry in last year from a guy in England who worked in the BBC, and he wanted to have his wedding at Winterfell. And it looks like that's actually going to go ahead. And we've had another inquiry in as well. So again, it's a theme, a Game of Thrones theme, but that you're actually in Winterfell to have your wedding is a key thing for the fans. Corporate incentive groups. We get a lot of local corporates coming in from Belfast, Dublin, who want to do the medieval banquet, that type of thing. But we also have inquiries coming in from the US and further afield. We have quite a lot of bookings in that field this year. Global media coverage. The amount of media that we had at Winterfell last year was colossal. We had over 100 journalists on the ground over the period of 2014. So that sucked up a lot of our resource, entertaining those guys on a daily basis. But Sky, Radio Times, Tourism Ireland, Canal Plus, CTV in Canada, New York Times, a lot of big names that were coming in to experience what we had on the ground. And then to go and write about it, which was great for us, great for Northern Ireland's green tourism. The latest news, what's actually happening, Winterfell staff team, the likes of Jon Snow Senior here, costumes and part of the replica Winterfell Archery Range movie set are going to Paris next week for l'Irlande à Paris. I don't know if that's pronounced right or not, but it's a Tourism Ireland driven event to push screen tourism to the French market. So if anybody's going to Paris next week, you might see us on the streets. Other things that are happening in 2015 as far as newly added products is concerned, as we've said, it's a very varied traveller that we have coming to us. So what we've had to sort of move on this year that we weren't doing so well last year was giving a more varied range of products for the customer. So low budget experiences for individual travellers that are quite tight on money. And one of the things we found was that they couldn't actually get to us. They were ringing us up on the phone last year, but they couldn't get to Winterfell because the public transport wasn't very good. And they didn't have enough money to hire a car or whatever. So this year we're looking at a shuttle bus service, which is going to go from Belfast Welcome Centre to Winterfell and then back again. And then there's also the options of the coach operators to tour other scenes, the likes of McCombs. Exclusive chauffeur-driven tours for individual clients is another thing that we're getting asked more and more about. So that's another thing we're offering this year. And Winterfell souvenirs, the likes of the Winterfell craft beer, like this one. Okay, so quite a lot that I've been rabbiting on about here, but really this couldn't have happened without partnerships. We're actually a tenant of National Trust on the Castle Ward estate, so we have a very close working relationship with them to achieve what we're doing here. So National Trust are a key part of this, as are Tourism NI, Tourism Ireland, the coach operators like McCombs, the dog owners, they actually bring the dogs so people can actually see them. The farm animal owners, Kenny Gracie, I've seen him floating around there. There he is, there at the back of the room. Kenny has the farm animals that were in the show. So the pigs, the donkeys, various animals that were, again, movie stars, local movie stars. Sometimes we get Kenny to bring those down to Winterfell so that the fans can actually get to see them. And that's what they want to do. Meeting the local extractors and partnerships with accommodation providers is a big thing for us as well. We're working now with hotels at the highest level, 5-star, because we've got clients coming in at that level, and then right down to the likes of youth hostels and so on, or campsites. So again, it's very, very varied. So that's me really. That's us. I encourage you to check out the website, winterfell-tours.com, and if you do want to keep up to date with our latest developments, follow us on Twitter, because we'll be feeding in quite a lot to that. Thanks very much.